What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to another episode of Film Stock Reviews. In this episode, I'm reviewing Minari. It's a semi-autobiographical film about director and writer Lee Isaac Chung, and it tells the story of South Korean immigrants who moved to rural America in the 1980s. Now, the movie features Steven Yeun, Alan Kim, and Yoo Jong-yoon as the grandmother. And this movie is interesting, and it starts off right away. There are no introductions, there are no credit opening scenes. It just gets right into the movie, and it's really, really good. The producer of this movie was actually Brad Pitt. His movie studio produced this movie. And it's interesting to see because we see that the Yi family moved from California to Arkansas, and the reason for that is because Jacob, played by Steven Yeun, wants to build a farm, so to speak, where he has crops or vegetables to sell to local farmers around the area, and especially in the Dallas, Texas area where the market is big. There are a lot of trials and tribulations in this movie that show up from the eyes of the young David. Alan Kim as David is cute, it's adorable, and he really stands out the most in this movie. The movie also deals with a lot of racism and justifications of a South Korean family moving into rural America in the 1980s especially, and trying to make it out on their own. They move into a so-called trailer house with wheels on it, and David has sort of a health condition that the family watches closely, and his sister in the movie is also very on her own and outgoing, but she really stands on her own as being like the older sister who watches her younger brother. The family aspect is really hard to watch because it's just a family of immigrants moving into a rural area of Arkansas in the middle of nowhere and trying to make a name for themselves and trying to make a living because the father sees potential in certain things. And then during the course of the time, the grandmother, visits and moves in to help them. And Yoo Jong-yoon is a phenomenal actress. If you haven't seen any of her stuff that she's done, be sure you check it out, because she is known for doing a lot of South Korean soap operas, K-dramas like that. I, for one, saw her when she did Hearts of 19, I believe, is the Korean soap opera that I watched. And I'm a huge fan of Korean soap operas, so seeing her in a movie like this was really good, and she stands out on her own as well. She's very quick-witted, and she mixes Korean with English, and it's great. And the love and the interaction between grandmother and grandson in this is really good. David doesn't like his grandmother because he doesn't think she's a real grandmother. She doesn't bake cookies, she doesn't swear. It's really fun, it's really good to see the connection, and the grandmother just loves her grandson. And over the course of the movie, you see that the love for the family does grow immensely and a lot. There are a lot of fascinating scenes in this, especially the way it's done, the cinematography. And Lee Isaac Chung made a movie where it's memorable, it's heartfelt, and it's a really feel-good story. Of course, Jacob, played by Steven Yeun, is a phenomenal character, and he's an exceptional actor. Of course, we all know him as Glenn from The Walking Dead, and he's been trying to shy away from that. And with a movie like this, he does that. He gives a stellar performance where it is award-worthy for his performance, especially for Yoo Jong-yoon, who plays the grandmother, and even Alan Kim, who plays David, the young boy. I see a lot of potential for Alan Kim to make it in the industry as a huge actor with a lot of success, because this just goes to show anything is possible. And seeing a movie like Minari, and if you didn't know, Minari is basically a water dropwort. It's like a small little vegetable that is used in Asian cuisine and cooking, or you can eat it. And it's good to see that they put something in there like this. Something happens in the end of the movie where you actually wonder, what is this family going to do? The trials and tribulations, like I said before, is very heartfelt, very emotional, and the talk of trying to fight the racism and trying not to get upset about certain scenes in this movie and them trying to make an American living is what this movie is about, because that's what every immigrant wants. They want to come here and they want to make that American living. And seeing the view from it through the eyes of a South Korean family moving into rural America in the 1980s, and written by and directed by Lee Isaac-Chung, which is a semi-autobiographical movie. So some of this stuff did happen to him. And, you know, he is a tremendous, tremendous director from what I've seen with this movie. If you haven't seen the trailer for this movie, do so. And if you haven't seen this movie, you need to do so, because I highly, highly recommend it. It's a fantastic movie. Now, the movie comes under just 2 hours, and it's a quick watch. Like I said, it goes right into it, and you are pulled into the lives of this family, the Yi family. The movie is great for its directing, its writing, its dialogue, its acting, especially from Alan Kim, who plays David, Stephen Yeun as Jacob, and Yoo Jung-yoon, who plays the grandmother. I see a lot of great things coming out of this movie, especially for the actors, and especially for director Lee Isaac-Chung. I really want to see him do more and more films in Hollywood, especially films and plots that deal with South Korean families, and seeing where he goes from there, especially working with Asian Americans and Asian stars from South Korea, Japan, you know, Hollywood, everything like that, because it's finally happening where Asian cinema is finally getting noticed, and it's really, really great. For me, being an Asian American, I really loved seeing Minari and what it stand out to. I, for one, am an Asian American. I am Mongolian, and seeing a movie like Minari like this for, you know, the Asian culture is good. Parasite knocked it out of the park with their film, and Bong Joon-ho did his thing, and now Lee Isaac-Chung is doing his own thing with Minari. So it's really good to see that the Asian community is backing and following and seeing the footsteps of what can happen with, you know, film culture, and through the eyes of racism and, you know, life in general with what happens in America. Because there are a lot of things happening in America that nobody talks about, nobody wants to say anything. But listen, hey, it's time that we speak up and we say something. And this movie goes to show that anything's possible with the American dream. And this movie will be definitely remembered for its writing, its acting, and how Lee Isaac-Chung, you know, manifested his semi-autobiographical story into a movie. For me, Minari gets 5 out of 5 stars. This movie is exceptional. It's fantastic. It's a really, really good American drama. And I don't really want to say it's a foreign film, because it's not. Some of the movie is maybe 60% of it is in American, while 40% of it is in Korean. So it's a balance of, you know, things. So if you have seen Minari, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what rating would you give it? Did you enjoy this movie for what it is? And what did you think about the story, for it being Lee Isaac-Chung's semi-autobiographical story, and seeing a South Korean family move into rural America during the 1980s and trying to make a living for themselves, and where the father, or the matriarch of the family, has to, you know, put food on the table for his family and try to make a living for it, because that's all that is on his mind. So let me know in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear what everyone thinks. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos on my channel. And you know where to follow Marchio Productions and me, Mr. Filmstock. I'll leave a link to all the social media accounts in the description box below. You guys can check it out and follow along. And also, I'll leave a link to the reaction trailer I did for Minari in the description box below as well. I'm Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.